Hello students, welcome to our online classes for ICSE Computer Applications for class 10. I hope you are all well and safe. Today we will be starting the online classes with some sessions on revision work done in class 9. Each session is expected to be of 15 to 20 minutes duration. In these revision sessions, we will not only revise what we did in class 9, but a little more than that. So I am sure you will be learning something new in these sessions also. You have already done a little bit of Java in class 9 and you have been using BlueJ as the tool. Now the tools that you could use are BlueJ, NetBeans or Eclipse. So these are the three integrated development environments which people normally use. For learning we use BlueJ. For actual production work we use NetBeans or Eclipse. So this means in class 10 we will be using BlueJ as the IDE. Now what is the meaning of IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is the software which we use to create our programs, to edit our programs, to compile the programs and to run the programs. That means everything is integrated into one software, and that is BlueJ. If you need to understand how to use BlueJ, I will not be explaining it here. You can use the YouTube link that I have given below. You can see that this is in the description also, and you can use it. Before we start, let me clarify some things to you. First of all, the naming conventions. How do we name a few things? For example, if we want to name a class, the class name should start with a capital letter. Now a class is the only thing that starts with a capital letter in Java. That means everything else, it could be a variable, it could be a function, an array or anything else, it will always start with a small letter. So if you have something which is starting with a capital letter, for example system, when you write system.out.println, you write system and system starts with capital S. What does that mean? That system is the name of a class. The out and the println are starting with small letters, and if it is starting with small letters, that means it is not the name of a class. If any of the above two has multiple words, each subsequent word starts with a capital letter. So that means class will start with a capital letter, everything else will start with a small letter. But if the entire word contains multiple words, then each subsequent word will start with a capital letter. Doesn't matter whether it is a class or a variable or a function or an array or anything else. Let me explain. For example, a class name is given as my first program. It consists of 3 words, and you can see that M is starting with a capital letter, my is starting with a capital letter, bank account is starting with a capital B. A variable name, for example, my first name, is starting with M as a small letter, account number A as a small letter, salary account S is a small letter. Okay, I hope that is clear to you. Next is all reserved words, the words reserved for Java, they cannot be used for anything else. They are only small letters and there are no caps at all. So there are no multiple words in it. Now words like for and while and do and if and switch and class and everything, these are all reserved, and they will all be completely small letters, and they will not be having any capital letter at all. Now what are the parts of a program? This we have already done, but let's understand this thing. A program basically consists of 2 parts, data and instructions. Now a program will always have these 2 parts. It will have data. Data is something which we give to the program, on which the program actually processes it, and on which the program is actually performing some actions. And instructions are the instructions which are actually being performed. So a program is incomplete if any of these two is missing. If I put only data in a program, then what is it doing? It is not doing anything, it is simply storing data. And if I have instructions only in a program, it is simply instructing and it doesn't have any data. So it's not actually doing anything on any data. So what is it doing? It is doing nothing at all. First, let us understand data types. What are the data types used in Java? The primitive data types. So what do we mean by primitive data types? These are the data types which start with the lowercase letters. They are all reserved words, and they are the basic types on which all the rest of the data is created. So that means everything in Java, it boils down to these primitive data types. Whether you create a class, the class will contain data, and the data in the class will be basically one of these primitive data types. They are only single values and have no special capabilities. Now special capabilities we'll basically consider when we do classes and stuff. We don't know what special capabilities mean at the moment. So let us understand these data types. So the first data type is byte, second is short, then int, then long, float and double, and char and boolean. Now please remember all these data types exactly as they have been given here. So don't jumble them up. They have to be remembered exactly like these. The first four are all integers. So integers means there are no decimal points here. And there are four data types here: byte, short, int and long. You can understand these are all written in small letters. So nothing out of these is written in capital letters. Byte is of 1 byte, short 2 bytes, int 4 bytes, long 8 bytes. Floating point are two of them, that is float and double. Float is of 4 bytes and double is of 8 bytes. That means these will occupy these many number of bytes in the computer's memory. Char occupies 2 bytes and boolean occupies 1 bit. Now please remember, char is basically a character that can be stored. Okay, a character with a Unicode value of 02665535, you can understand these Unicode values are basically values given to each character to each language in the world. That means whether you write something in English or Punjabi or Hindi or Japanese or Chinese or Telugu or any other language, each of those will have a value, a Unicode value. Okay. For example, if I take 65 as the value, 65 is actually the value of capital A that we store on the computer. So if capital A is 65, similarly if we write something in Hindi, they will be having some value or the other. Okay, and you don't need to remember them. Next is all the languages in the world comes into this area 02655535. There are still some numbers left, quite a number of numbers left. So if there are future languages available that are going to be available, they still can be used in the 65,535. Okay. The range of byte is -128 to +127. That means the lowest value I can store as a byte is -128 and largest value is +127. As a short, I can store minimum as -32,768, maximum is 32,767. As an int, it will be -2.14 billion to +2.14 billion, that is a point here. As a long, -9.2 billion, that means -9 followed by 18 zeros to +9 followed by 18 zeros. As a floating point number, that means numbers having decimal points. So floating point numbers are precise up to 7 decimal places, and double are precise up to 16 decimal places. Char we have just clarified, I've just clarified the numbers. Boolean basically stores only a true or a false. That means if I want to store a value true, a value false, then I can store it as true or false. Please remember, they do not come in single quotes or double quotes. A Unicode value is exactly one character enclosed in single quotes. So that means this A is actually this A. Okay, so this is exactly one character enclosed in single quotes. Alright, next, primitive data. Primitive data, we have just done primitive types. Now we come to primitive data. Boolean data is anything which is true or false. No single quote, no double quotes. Okay. Int, any integer number like 23, 9989, 1234, these are all int values. Long, any integer number ending with an L, capital L or small l. For example, 23L, 1234L or 1000L. So that means any number, any integer number ending with an L is actually a long number. Float, any number ending with F or F. That means capital or small. So 2.35F, 1.987 whatever F and 678F. So these are all floating point numbers. Okay. I said any number, not any integer number. So that means 678 actually is an integer number, but if it is ending with an F, it actually becomes a floating point number. If it had not been ending with this F, then it would have been actually an int value. For double, any number ending with D or DE or a fractional number ending with nothing, they are all double numbers. For example, if I write a 2.3, it is a double number because it is a fractional number ending with nothing. 2.45677D, it is ending with D, it's a double number. 23D is a double number. 9.09 whatever D is also a double number. Now, there are 2-3 things to understand here first. Now, first thing first, I have written a 23. I have also written a 23L. I have also written a 23D. I could have written a 23F also. What is the difference between these 23s? This is a 23, but it will be treated in the program as an int. 23L will be treated as a long. 23D will be treated as a double. So what is the difference between the two? All are 23s actually. It's only 23. So what is the difference between all of them? The difference is how much memory are they going to occupy in the program, in the computer's memory. So 23 is going to occupy 4 bytes only because it is actually an int value. 23L becomes a larger value, although it is a 23, but it will occupy 8 bytes of computer's memory. Similarly, 23D will also occupy 8 bytes, but it is actually going to be treated as a 23.00000. Okay, I hope that is understood. Okay, next is we are going to understand what is the data type of the following. You can pause the video at the moment and figure out what these values are. After you unpause, I will tell you what these values are. Okay, now that you have unpaused, let us understand what these values are. 29010. Does it have any D or F or L after this? No. It is basically an int. 28 is an int. 6.77, it is a fractional number, not ending with anything. It is a double value. So this is an int value. This is an int value. This is a double value. D ending with D is a double value. 290D, it is a double value. 10, it is an int. 10L, it is a long. 4759, it is an int. 4 point so and so is a double. It's not ending with anything. 47.59D is a double. 47.59F is actually a float. Okay, I hope you all are clear about this. Numbers of other number systems. Suppose in a program I write a number and the number starts with a 0. If a number starts with a 0, it will be considered as an octal number by the program. So that means if I display 0122 in a program, it will actually display 82. You can basically calculate an octal number, convert this octal number 122 into decimal, and you will find that it becomes 82. Any number starting with 0x is actually going to be treated as a hexadecimal number. So 0x122 is actually 290. So that means if I display 0x122, it will actually display 290. Any number starting with 0b is a binary number. So if I write 0b 1100, it will actually display 12. It will store 12, it will display 12. Okay, I don't have to explain these any further, so you can just do the calculation yourself. Next is strings that we will consider right now. String basically is an inbuilt class which is used to store multiple characters, and multiple characters are like hot and cold and Chandigarh. These are all multiple characters in double quotes. Okay, 0 or multiple characters enclosed in double quotes. That means if you enclosed anything in double quotes and 0 or multiple characters, so that will be considered as a string. Okay, my question to you now is, which of one of these is invalid? These basically are two single quotes and these are two double quotes. There is nothing inside the single quotes, there is nothing inside the double quotes. Now which one of these is valid and which one of these is invalid, or both, whatever it is? Now you can pause the video for a few seconds and figure out what is the answer. Okay, now that you have unpaused, the first one is invalid. Why is it invalid? Single quotes is actually char data, and char data has to be exactly one character inside the single quote. So there is nothing inside the single quotes. This is invalid. You cannot write like this. And inside double quotes, you can have two double quotes written together. So it is basically 0 or multiple. Okay, so 0 or multiple. So this is valid. Okay. Next. Normally when we write numbers in our day-to-day lives, we use commas to separate numbers, separate digits. Like if I want to write like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or like 3,45,000, we put commas there to make the numbers readable. In Java, we cannot put commas like this. Commas basically perform a specific task. Okay, so it is not basically cannot be used to separate digits. Now suppose we want to write a large number like this. Now it's not readable. I don't know how many million, how many whatever it is. So I have to find out, I have to count the digits. So to make these numbers readable, what we can do is to put underscores in between digits. So 2 underscore 982 underscore 9749 and so on and so forth. Basically you can figure from here that it is actually 2 quintillion. Okay. Alright. Now the rule is that the underscore should be between two digits. As you can see, this underscore is between two digits 2 and 9. This underscore is between two digits 2 and 7 and so forth. Okay. The only rule is that the underscore have to be between two digits. Now you cannot write a number as this one. Why? No, not like this, is because this underscore is a problem. It doesn't have another digit on the left side. This one doesn't have any digit on the right hand side. This one doesn't have anything on the right hand side. This one is actually between a dot and a digit. So this is a problem. So all these four numbers are actually invalid. Now please understand, you can write these numbers in the program with underscores, but for a program it doesn't matter whether you have written underscores or not. It is basically to make the numbers in a program easily readable by another programmer, or basically by you also. Okay, I will start the variables today. A variable, you know what a variable is. A variable is a name given to a memory location, that is a location in RAM which is used to store data. So that means, okay, let's understand further. These can be considered to be containers containing data. They hold data in which is then manipulated by instructions. So they are basically containers. Alright, so we store data in RAM, but we do not use their locations to store. Instead, we give the locations a name and we use that name. For example, I use a variable called x. So x is actually the name given to a location in RAM. Let us understand this by a diagram. For example, in this diagram, this is RAM, and these are the locations in RAM, and the locations basically are empty at the moment. Let me number them. Let me number them as, for example, this is location number 0, this is location number 1, this is location number 2, this is location number 3. Now I have created a variable called a. So the variable called a, when I create a variable called a, what will the computer do? It will look for a RAM location which is empty at the moment and give it a name of a. So that means in this program, what is a? A is the name given to the location 2. Okay, so whenever in my program I will use a, the computer will automatically go to location number 2 and take the data from there. Okay, I hope that is understood. So when I write int a is equal to 5, a variable called a is created. It is going to be of type int, that means it is going to be using 4 bytes of memory locations, and this a will be given, the name of a will be given to the location that we have actually found to be free. Okay, today we will be doing this much only. Now in the next class we will be doing further, that is the loops, the if and the switch and the do while and the while and so on and so forth. We will do some programs also. I will be sending a small questionnaire along with this session. You are expected to complete that and write it in a notebook. I hope the session today was very clear to you. Thank you, have a nice day, and see you in the next session.